Yo, 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 what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back to another week of Let's Chop It Up.
What's up, fellas? What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Let's Chop It Up. Guys, how was your week?
Exceptional.
Exceptional. Go ahead, Derek. What's
exceptional? You know what I mean? So
go ahead. What happened,
when you start a new gig, man, you know, something I love to do. Doing things I love to do. You can keep the weather though. You know what I mean? But I got in, but it was fantastic, man. You know, I think I told you before that I do work with developmentally disabled adults, and today I started helping them with jobs and, you know, being able to support them so that they keep their jobs and be productive members of the community and have dependents and all that. So so this is I'm very psyched about that, man. It's become a real passion thing for me, man. You know, so that's beautiful. And other than that, just running around. Yeah, thank you, man. Just like everybody else, shoveling snow, and you know, and I'm out here being a community leader, man, and settling disputes among neighbors. That's another thing.
That snow was heavy. That snow was heavy.
The COVID and the snow got people bugging. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Rod, how was your week, Rod?
My week was fine. Like you say, shoveling snow. I've been shoveling snow for probably like the last 2 days. And because you know, after the snow melts a little bit, you can shovel a little bit more, you know. But I went to lunch today with my wife, and let me ask you guys a question. Does oxtails and mac and cheese go together?
It
can. The gravy can get into the mac and cheese.
It depends on the gravy.
This is the thing. Like on the menu, they had oxtails and mac and cheese, and they also have it with Rasta pasta. I don't know. It just doesn't seem to me like oxtails goes with pasta. Nah. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But you know, my wife said that a lot of people are making it.
They do. And know what I saw in Philly?
What's that?
Jerk chicken lasagna.
Wow.
I just want to step in and say we never, ever gonna get anywhere as a people.
No, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care what anybody says. Like mac and cheese and oxtails don't go together. It just doesn't go together. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, who wants gravy in their mac and cheese?
It kind of goes a little bit.
Ron, you gotta make it work, brother. You gotta make it work.
I guess I gotta.
We can make anything work. You know that. We can make anything work. You know that.
Hey, Rod, you're very lucky to get oxtails in any West Indian spot without them sucking their teeth.
Well, no, we didn't get the teeth. No, we got the teeth sucking. That comes along with the meal.
The bad attitude is part of the flavor, right?
Well, Willie just said oxtails goes great with mac and cheese.
I like it, man. Word up.
Shout out to my brother Willie. What's up, Willie?
Shout out, Big Willie, South Carolina State. Yo, Kelvin, how was your weekend, man?
Big sexy.
Hey, I'm like everybody else. First of all, I'm giving everybody snow for Valentine's Day. It's just my little gift. That's the first thing. Secondly, it was cool. I've learned something. I shoveled my spot out in front of my own house, and somebody took the spot.
Definitely.
In light of things that have gone on in this country over the last couple of days, they can have the spot. And not only that, I also want to say the neighbors that stole the Red Bull machine, enjoy it. I'm just new. I realized I want no problems, no beef. Everything is good. Whatever happens, you know, God bless you anyway. Because it's real out here today.
Yes.
Yo, I saw it was showing in Pennsylvania. A man got killed. A man and a woman got shot and killed this week over the snow, over shoveling snow.
Hey, man,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I almost saw it last night with my neighbors, man. I felt like it was gonna be a replay. I'm serious, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy.
You know, I watched that. I watched that video. It was terrifying. It was tragic or whatever. But you kind of see how there's a difference of relating to reality that white people have compared to black people. Like when that guy came out with that gun, I think most black people would have ran.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
Black people run from shit they don't see. You see
other people running, we running.
If y'all ran off the screen right now, I'm leaving.
Exactly. As soon as people start running, especially somebody pulls out a gun. Let me tell you something. You could tell by the way he was moving, he was going to get something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I'd have been running then. You know what I'm saying? When he came back out, I wouldn't have been there.
Right. Do you remember White Men Can't Jump when Raymond said, I don't know who telling the truth. I'm gonna get my gun and shoot everybody, and everybody left the park.
And everybody started running.
There
exactly.
you go. You don't wait to see the gun show up.
The
and we want to do.
It's crazy. He said in the video twice, "Put the gun down. Put the gun down."
Yeah.
And then the guy started shooting. Like I don't get it. I'd have been out of there.
Yeah. Now, do you think this is like just COVID related, where people are just on edge? Or you just think just
from what I understand, they were like having like long term disputes with this neighbor. So I don't know. It ended tragically. He wound up killing them, and then he killed himself.
Let me say something. I respect you so much for the years you put into force, because I don't know how you respond to that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you respond to that. Like, I had to get it off my phone. I didn't even want that evil on my phone. I just had to get rid of it.
That was something.
Guys,
unfortunately, the police department like it desensitizes you in some ways. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to dig a little deep and find some empathies. Too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So on the chopping block, guys, did you see the guy that got jumped the girl in the liquor store just got caught? And Rodney, you called good money on that.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts about that, and what you think is going to happen? So, did they catch the rest of the guys? I don't even know.
I think they're still looking for two more guys. Yeah.
But
they caught him.
Disgusted by it.
Yeah, they caught him in Brooklyn. They caught him in Brooklyn at another young lady's house that he was beating on her too. So that's how they caught him, because she called the police for a domestic violence incident. So he was arrested in Brooklyn. But the way it's done is he still has to go back to Manhattan to answer for those charges in Manhattan. So I'm pretty sure, like we talked about this before, he got $3,000 bail. But I think the $3,000 bail is for the incident. It's for the incident in Brooklyn. It's not for the incident in Manhattan.
Got you. Okay, good. That's thank you for the clarity on that, man.
Yeah.
So is there total? Is he still behind bars? That's the question.
No, he's still in. He's still in. From what I read and what I researched is that he's got to get transferred to Manhattan to answer for the charges for the liquor store.
Okay, so when you have a high-profile case like this, and you did say that you knew that they were going to work this around the clock, what happens to a person like this that is a woman beater in all likelihood when they go into Rikers Island or they go into the system? I understand there's a lot of guys that are in because they have women they care about that are outside. They don't take kindly to this, or what's your experience with that, Rod?
I mean, I don't know about Rikers Island. I think once they start doing time, that's when they start to you really run into problems when you're doing time, and they find out what your as they say, what's your jacket would mean what you're in for. But there's guys that's gonna have a problem with what he did. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But the thing is, when your case is high profile, it puts pressure on the police to definitely catch you. And also too, when it comes to sentencing, you usually get more time when your case is high profile.
That's true.
And he was on the run.
Yeah.
You get more time if you're of our color.
If you're definitely if you're our color, you're definitely going to jail.
It's easier.
And if you're convicted, you'll probably get more time than a guy whose case wasn't as high profile.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to ask, lastly, Rodney or any of the gentlemen on the panel, what would you say to women that may be our viewers or women at large? How do you think you should handle a situation like that? Because it's really a no-win situation, but is there anything that people can, when they find a situation like that, is there anything we could suggest as far as, their safety or just trying to get out of there? I mean, it was no-win situation, but, anything.
Just don't engage. Keep it moving, because you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't understand that you may not, understand this frame of mind a person may be in, what they're dealing with, if they got some mental issues or whatever. You just don't know who you're dealing with.
But the scary thing was, I don't know that she engaged. I mean, she literally politely answered the question. So it's like,
The thing is, if I had to guess, there was some exchange of words, no thank you and whatever, and then I think there was more exchange of words once she got outside. I don't know what she said or whatever, but she did engage. I'm not saying that's the reason she got beat up. There's no excuse for that.
I can't imagine what she could have ever said.
There's nothing that she could have said that could have justified what happened.
If she'd have let him buy it, it would have been the same issue.
I'm not saying that either. Yeah, it's no thank you. You know what I'm saying? You guys have a good night and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Speaking, since we're on the topic of fuck boys, the Proud Boys recently got into an incident with a Black Lives Matter activist down in Florida, and they clashed, and it seemed like the Proud Boys the Black Lives Matter people was the only ones first charged. They were the only ones charged, I think. Am I correct, guys? You have to correct me on this. And the Proud Boys were pretty much let go, and they had to drop the charges later. What do you guys think on that white privilege incident?
Who's surprised?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what else to say about that, man. Like, what other way was it ever going to go? You know what I mean?
Well, I told you there's a lot of police officers that are on the right. You know what I'm saying? They're Republicans. They, you know, you'll be surprised how many officers probably side with the Proud Boys. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. How many are there? You know, we already know that, you know, in that crowd at the Capitol, you know, a bunch of them were police or you know, police officers. A ton of them were military.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Military, police officers, firefighters.
Yeah.
You know?
So you already know. You know, what
business people.
Business people. Yeah, these are you know, these are your managers, your supervisors, or whoever, man. These, you know,
this is what I think. I think first of all, we've got to get involved in local government. We've got to get involved in local police departments. You know, there are neighborhoods that are 90% black and the police force is 95% white. I mean, we got to start getting involved in law enforcement. We've got to start getting involved in the judicial system. We live here. We got to get involved in this process. You know, we just can't always stand back on the sidelines and become just reactive. We got to really become proactive. Young people have got to get in this system to change it from within. I don't see any other way. It's that and it's ownership. Other than that, we'll just react. You've got to do like other communities. You got to leverage things. You got to vote as a block. We got to make sure that if you do something that is inappropriate, you're going to lose your elected position. Something you've got to feel it, because too often I think what happens when people do things to us, they expect us to march for a few days. They expect us to get some civil rights leaders together. They expect us to riot, loot, and break some stuff, and then forget about it until the next incident. And I think we've got to start, you know, getting involved in this system. And I think that will get everybody's attention more so. I think that's the only option we have in this country across the board.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Definitely.
So it was one more thing. I don't know if everyone saw this. It was a young black girl. She was 9 years old. It was in Rochester. I think it was Rochester, upstate New York, where this cop pretty much manhandled her, and this young girl was crying out to her father. It kind of gave me chills, almost going back to George Floyd. You know, the man, he called for his mother. This young girl was in distress, and she called for her daddy for her protection. Any thoughts on that?
Was that the one? She was a 9-year-old girl. Is that
9-year-old girl.
I couldn't watch that, man. I couldn't even read it, bro. I couldn't tell you nothing about it. When I saw she was 9 years old, I couldn't even. No. I couldn't do it.
And Rodney, for as a cop, what are your thoughts like when you with children and stuff like that?
First of all, a 9-year-old.
Former cop. Sorry.
Make sure you always say that.
Long time ago.
A 9-year-old is a juvenile, right? That's the bottom line. 9-year-old is a juvenile. There's not much legal action you can take against a 9-year-old besides doing basically a juvenile report. That's how it's done in New York City. I don't know what their rules are in Rochester, but I'm sure it's pretty similar. From what the mother said is that we saw in the video that she was screaming out for her father. She wanted to talk to her father. She wanted her father. Mm-hmm. She wanted her father. But they said that the mother said that she has mental breakdowns, right? Mm-hmm. So she was having a mental breakdown at that moment. But obviously the police didn't recognize that. And then they got her in a car. I know that there was a female officer on the scene that was trying to tell her to get into the car. And it seems to me like two of the officers or one of the officers just decided that he wasn't going to give a damn and decided he was going to mace her in order to calm her down, to pull her into the car. I mean, that's, first of all, I don't know too many men that can't like handle a 9-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, all you had to do was grab her from the top of her arms and just slide her back into the car. That's it. You know what I mean? Until her parents came or what have you. But to mace her in the back of a car while she's cuffed, no, that's just totally out of line. But they suspended 3 of those officers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
go ahead, Kelvin.
I'm sorry, D. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated with looking behind the curtain with law enforcement. And so, Rodney, you're the resident retired officer. So let me ask this question. You know, let's say you take 10 guys that come into the force, and let's say they just happen to come into the force because they really, really want to clean up the communities or do the right thing. What percentage of those guys, by the time they get some time in the job, start to change and all of a sudden just wind up becoming desensitized to everything and kind of lose some of that humanity or empathy? Out of 10 guys, provided that they came in with the right intentions, within three to 5 years, how many of them are still in that position, or give me a percentage of those 10 that have just changed and have just taken this and kind of got disconnected from what the job really is?
I'll be honest with you, Calvin. That's a hard question to answer, because the thing is, like, I can't get into the mind of every single body. I can go to what I see, but there's one thing that I did see throughout my career. The more educated you are about how things work, as far as like society, history, and it depends on how deeply you fall into the police culture, because that's what the police department is. It's a culture. Okay. And the deeper you fall into the culture, the more you adopt the us against them mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I say majority of my career, like I always kind of saw it as a job. Now I didn't understand how things worked as far as the way the cities work, politics worked, the department worked. And, a lot of information that cops spread amongst each other is not very accurate. And it's a lot of right-wing views. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So like I said, I say the cops that are more educated about the way things work, politics, communities, money a little bit too, because that plays a role. That's going to dictate how you think and how you treat the community.
Got you. Okay. Very, very well said. I'm sorry, D, go ahead with.
No. It was for your experience, Rob, like, do you think, and both of us, we worked in schools and stuff like that. Do you think it's different when black officers are called dealing with children compared to white officers when they call dealing with our children? When they come to the black and Latino kids, do white officers treat them different? Have you seen it?
I'm gonna say like I can't say that all white officers like that, because I'll be honest with you, I worked with some white officers and some of them was acting. This is the God's honest truth. Some of them were blacker than me. You know what I'm saying? The way they thought, the way they hung out with us or whatever, and it's just, and it all had a lot to do with like their background, their upbringing, and stuff like that. So I can't kind of say that all white officers are bad, because that would be a lie for me to say that. Mm-hmm. And the thing is too, I met some brothers that basically ain't brothers. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They think along a different term, and I met some Hispanics that don't think like Hispanics. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, certain people fall into the culture. Some people have ulterior motives where they're trying to work their way up through the department. Some people are very kiss-assy. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that come into play. But I do notice a difference, like I said, when dealing with certain kids and the way jobs are handled on the streets with, certain people. And like I said, I've seen some white officers that do an amazing job. And I'll be like, wow, this dude is dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like I said, to this day, I still have some guys that just happen to be white that are police officers or used to be police officers. And like I said, they probably blacker than me and you in the way they talk. And I can introduce you to them and you'll say the same thing, like, yo, this dude is different.
Yeah, exactly. Scott Randolph, all skin folk and kinfolk. I was thinking the same exact thing, brother. Yeah. Yo, Rodney, let me ask you a question though. How much do you think is an ambition a component to that? You know what I mean? Where people just kind of let things slide or whatever. How much ambition is involved? Ambition
as far as what, going up through the ranks,
just moving up rank or just getting light or whatever it is that makes you do what you do. You know what I'm saying, within the career.
Well, like I said, you got some people that brown nose, for certain positions. It's like any other job, in the corporate world, same thing. But as far as promotions, the first 3 promotional exams, you got to take an exam to get promoted. You know what I'm saying? Then after that 3rd exam, where you make it's sergeant, it's lieutenant, and then it's captain, you have to take an exam for. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, after captain, there's a glass ceiling. So basically, it's about a popularity contest. Who likes you? And then the Chiefs got to be with you. It's a game. It's just basically a game that got to be played. And the thing is, like I said, I've seen some brothers and sisters play that game like kind of well. They play it very well.
Yeah. So, Rob, let me ask you a quick question. Like we said before, that both worked in schools and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we saw recently the young girl that got beat up by the cop and tased in Florida. And what are your thoughts on cops being inside schools?
Well, like me and Big Sexy Willie, we were in the unit, the school uniform task force. We was like in that first group where Mayor Bloomberg put cops in the schools. right?
Mm-hmm.
He put cops in, I think it was the top 10 worst schools in the city at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and to combat some of the crime and stuff that was going on in the school. And I'm going to say some of those schools we went into, some of those schools were out of control. They were out of control. Some of the students were, like super thugged out. But the thing is, I'm going to tell you right now, I do believe that an officer should be assigned to the schools,
Mm-hmm.
but not for the reason that they did it. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, cops can't be mediators, they can't be counselors. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So cops only can take action. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way the police officers are trained. You know what I'm saying? Don't mediate too many situations. We're not counselors. We're not trained to basically understand a kid's psyche and stuff like that. That's not the way it works. So me personally, if they're going to have some type of enforcement in the schools, and another thing too, the school rules, in my opinion, are entirely too lenient. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was bugging when I first heard about in-house suspension. Basically, you get suspended, you still come to school the next day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my school had it.
Yeah, so I that was foreign to me. I thought you got suspended. Like we would know that a kid got suspended, and then he'd be coming to school next day. We're like, is he supposed to be here? But I remember at the time when we was in the schools, I was a cop, and I remember the sergeant like kind of analyzed the place, and she made, in my opinion, she made a good choice. She made decisions that we shouldn't be getting involved in interior situations, that the administration should be dealing with certain things. Like school safety should be dealing with certain things. Because like I said, cops are trained to react. They're not trained to mediate and stuff like that. So basically they should have some sort of counselors in the school that can basically talk to these kids. They're more familiar with the students. The cops are not familiar with the students. They don't know who has issues, who has problems, who has maybe problems at home, who's been through certain things, you know what I'm saying? Because some of this behavior is as a result of, some of these kids' home life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, and we worked at certain schools, and one thing I like with that you had, and I give you guys props for, you had a thing like it was called like the cops in the community. I forgot what we called it, but you guys came in and talked to my kids directly and educate them how to deal with police and listen to certain kind of words. Because once the kids have the information and how to deal with the cops, it was a different kind of conversation and a different so that was really big of you guys when y'all came in back in the day.
Yeah. But like I said, I do believe a cop should be assigned to schools for safety reasons, like God forbid a mass shooting or someone wanders in from the outside. In other words, the cop should be there to protect the school from some sort of outside threat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the thing I got to say about what Kelvin said is was best, like controlling your money and controlling your dollars in your community, and it led to a lot of things. Was waking a lot of people woke up. A lot of people started looking to Dr. Claude Anderson. A lot of Black people started following real estate stuff and how to build their credit. And one of the biggest things that started jumping off recently was a lot of people of color started getting more involved in the stock market. So what our first guest of tonight, he's a good brother. He's this brother I love. I really do call him. He's like a blood brother to me. This is my man Dwayne. He is the senior financial advisor and first vice Fargo Banks. This is his own money. When I say he got his own money, he got his own money.
He got his own money.
He's a financial advisor for both high and net worth individuals, institutes, clients, and managers, and all this other shit that we ain't gonna tell you about. But he's not. But he's a dope dude. He's the Jackie Robinson of UBS Bank. He's the first Black dude there. so like I said, Sammy Jammy, bring up my man. He got his own money, Dwayne Taylor.
There you go.
He got his own money.
I had to clean up for you guys. I put some glasses on. I thought I looked smarter and sound smarter. Gibberish that's coming out. So,
he gave me a long ass speech. I'm like, man, fuck all this shit, man. This motherfucker's smart.
My hearing was coming in and out, so it's fading in and out. I think I got it good with you guys.
You got it straight now?
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
Yo,
So you guys
Dwayne, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Loan me $40.
That's not a question. That's a demand. That's a demand.
I know you got it.
Listen, man,
this man pays me to be his friend.
He paid good. He paid good.
Question, because
Go ahead.
D told me you guys were instituting a new rule this week where the guests had to pay. So I mean, I paid him. He said he's gonna split it with you guys.
Yeah, you holding on to the money?
You holding?
So you can. So Roddy, you can get your 40 from him.
I'm going to see him about it.
Now, Dwayne, with all the things like you've been doing this for a very long time, like involved in the stock market, investing in people like that. So, like a lot of people's first time to get into this real estate. I mean, not real estate. I'm sorry, to the stock market. What's your first bit of advice for a person first time really dabbing into the stock market?
Don't put in what you can't lose, right? Don't put in what you can't afford to lose. And it sounds like a simple concept, right? But the reality is a lot of people think it's a get rich quick scheme, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they sometimes associate it with, the people that they see on TV, or they watch CNBC and they see these hot stories, or social media, as is a, son of a gun, where people see stuff and they think, Bitcoin, rags to riches. All I got to do is put $5 into this and it turns into, some astronomical amount where it's almost like playing Powerball. So, investing should be something that has a little bit of pain to it, right? In terms of that, what's the old saying? If it's easy, everybody would do it, right? So investing needs to have a little bite to it where you feel like, there's some stress in the sense of, you got to do your homework. You got to put some money on the side where you feel like it's almost like paying a bill, right? I always tell people when you're first starting out, you pay your Con Ed, you pay your cell bill, cable, all that stuff. Pay yourself in an investment account, right? You can build up a certain amount of money, and when you feel comfortable putting that money into play, you can do that, right? So a lot of people, I think, put the cart before the horse, right? And I know D, you want to touch on GameStop and all this other stuff, but a lot of people tend to build the roof first and then try to build the floors down from there and then get to the foundation, right? So most people, when you're starting out, just like a carpenter, right? Building a house, you're going to build a solid foundation first, right? And those are your stocks that you feel comfortable with and that will be in business for a long period of time. May not make you a ton of money initially, but it's a solid base. Correct. And then as you get more and more comfortable, you add the floors on, right? And at some point when you feel like your house is very strong, then you can do like the extra stuff, the chandeliers and the sconces and all that kind of stuff, where you feel like if this takes a hit, I already have stability on the floors below, where this is not going to crush me, where I can't do this anymore, or I'm going to have to sell some other asset to make up for the loss. If that makes sense.
Dwayne, let me ask you this question. When I was a kid, my father bought stock for my sister and I in AT&T, and he just wanted us to get an idea of what it was, and I was very excited about it. And we wound up selling it. My sister and I would look in the paper every day back then. You look in the paper to find out, and we didn't have patience with it. But what age would you say parents should expose their children to the stock market or investments in general?
Good question. So, it's interesting you mentioned AT&T. So my dad, God rest his soul, passed away back in '91, but he was the first person I knew that bought a stock. My father had a third grade education, worked for the Transit Authority, and the first trade he did, he bought 138. I remember like yesterday. He bought 138 shares of AT&T, right? And I remember coming home from school. I was 14 at the time. I remember coming home from school, and we would sit on the couch and watch. PBS used to have a ticker. Like at the end of the day, like the Lehrer report, it would come out of TBS. PBS would have a ticker at the bottom and go, "Oh, there's AT&T passing at the bottom." You see the symbol T, and you get all excited. So there's no set age. I think as a parent, right, you have to set that table for your child to almost, we get them piggy banks, right? We give them allowances, and we do things that kind of establish a certain level of, we want you to be better than us, right? I didn't start investing until I was in college, right? When I started on Wall Street. Right. My kids are going to, knock on wood, will start off earlier. So I think the earlier they start, the better. And listen, you can start them with the concept of investing in housework, the concept of investing in their schoolwork. You know, they do well in school. That's an investment in themselves. You give them an extra dollar, right? You show
Right.
it doesn't
Right.
necessarily have to be they put $20 into a Robinhood account and bought X, Y, and Z, but you show them how they can build equity in themselves, and that's a good, I think, springboard into an investment account down the road, right? You know, because it's something
Excellent.
where I think it's just we get so many as our people, we get such a late start in so
Mhm.
many areas. You know, I'm first generation suit and tie, right? So, um, you know, and because of that, I felt like I was behind the eight ball in terms of knowing when I should turn on the spigot for investing, when I should do this for, you know, savings, and I had to almost teach myself. But you know, I ramped up, and you know, I think it's important for us to, you know, ramp our children up, and people that we mentor and things like that.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
Excellent.
I heard you say something, Dwayne, where you said that when you were younger, you know, you started on Wall Street, you know, when you were still in college, you know, and I respect that so much. You know, in a former life, I was studying to be a stockbroker. You know what I mean? In college as well, I didn't have the patience you have and the fortitude that you have. I didn't have the or the concentration, so I had to let it go. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But I did learn a thing or two. You know what I mean? In that time, and I did learn that we don't really we tend to just put our money in the savings, and you know, us being us, and we just put our money in the savings, and that's it. We let it go. You know what I mean? And we don't really involve ourselves in investment. But when my oldest son, before he went off, I did start him on an E-Trade account. You know what I mean, and get him started for that. Do you have any ideas on, you know, how to start your kids off with those kind of investing? You know, is there anything that you prefer, like E-Trade, Ameritrade, whatever like that?
So I work at Wells Fargo in the private bank, and so we have like three different divisions in of investing, right? So we have the high net worth area, which is where I'm in, but then we also have a unit called Wells Trade, right? So Wells Trade is no commission, right? And it's pretty much the whole world now with that DIY situation, to do it yourself, where
Yeah.
people want to kind of implement their own ideas. The whole world is zero commission, right? So Charles Schwab, E Trade, you know, Fidelity, Robinhood, obviously. So the concept of setting your child up for an account and guiding them, I think it has more to do with you have to implement their ideas, right? And so I think sometimes, as now my kids are 4 and 5 years old, so I haven't given them their opinion yet. So they don't know their opinion because I haven't told it to them.
Oh
There
God.
you go.
So as they get older, and in your case with yours, I think you have to say, hey, listen, here's a basket of 10 stocks or 10 companies that we have visited over the last, you know, 6 months, right? We went to, you know, Dick's Sporting Goods, we went here, we went there, you know, we went to Macy's, we went. Out of these 10, what are your top 3 or 4 stores that you went to, right? And let them say, Daddy, this is what I like. You know, I really like how, you know, when we go into, you know, Dick's, everything's laid out, or how, you know, they have everything I can buy in one spot. And I think you allow them to engage themselves, make their own decisions in that. Now, certainly, you know, there's certain companies, you know, that probably won't last another year or so, and your kids may not know that. So you may have to kind of nudge them a little bit and just, you know, give them some advice. But I think if you engage them in this, in the aspect of saying, tell me what you think about something that you've taken part in, right? You know, most kids are not going to know about the full concept of Amazon. Other than there's a box on our front door every day,
Yeah.
or you know, a lot of people don't really fully understand Prime, like, you know, in terms of how,
Right.
you know, for better or worse, you know, they're putting a lot of companies out of business. But I think it's up to us to kind of teach a our children the idea that it's okay to have an original idea where I didn't force it on you or tell you, no, you should be buying Tesla, you should be buying, you know, Apple, you know, you need to get the best ones. And we tell them that. I think that kind of takes away, number one, it should be fun, right? Especially at an early age,
Right.
because when they see that growth of money potentially, you know, knock on wood again, that's going to inspire them. Say, listen, Daddy, don't give me my allowance. Put it into
Mhm.
my account,
Yeah.
right? And Derek, you made the point about saving and investing. A lot of people don't realize there's a difference. Like, I mean, there's a major difference. Squirreling away your money in a savings account is squirreling your money away. It's
Exactly.
basically you're putting it in the mattress, right? You
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
you want to keep it liquid. There's assuming you have less than 250,000, under the FDIC levels, you're protected, right? Investing is something that's saying, listen, I want growth, right? Investing and growth are synonymous, right? Losses also, are part of that equation too. But I think for us, more times than not, we choose security over stepping out on faith, in terms of it's kind of saying these other
Yeah.
people are doing it. Like they don't seem
Those
to be
bills are
having a
coming.
problem with it. That's why
Yeah.
I tell you, you don't put out there what you can't afford to lose,
Mhm.
right? Once you feel like you have that basket where, of course you don't want to lose it, but once you have that basket where you can feel like you can do whatever with it, it's liberating because now you can just make decisions based upon should I own this or not, as opposed to lights to get turned off next week. I got to sell this stock to pay off this and then rearrange that. Why am I even invested? I should just keep it in savings, like, because I'm gonna grab it anyway at some point. So why even mess
Yeah.
around?
That's a generational thing, I think. I mean, my great grandmother saw the collapse and she saw the stock market fail before, and she saw
Okay.
banks fail before. So they had this idea that they just saved, especially of that time. You just saved. You save. I mean, my grandmother. You put your money in a saving account and you don't touch it. You just don't touch it. So that was,
Yeah.
and then they didn't realize how the banks were getting rich off their money and things like that. And now I think now because we have more information, people have to understand that facts are your friends. You need to understand that the more you know, the better you should do. And I think that's why the dynamic has changed. This generation, although they consider it the first post-literary society, there's more information at your fingertips than any other generation previous.
Mhm.
It's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fact.
Hey,
Yeah.
Wayne, when I talk to people, one of the main things I always hear from people about the stock market is they feel like they have to basically watch it every day. They got to move their stocks around every day. That it's, and you said earlier, basically invest in companies that's going to be around a while and just sit in it long term. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like anything, there needs to be a level of babying to it, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because I do believe, you know, like there's certain recipes that you set it and forget it. You put it in rotisserie and just let it do its thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
it'll cook on its own, and boom, it's done. Investing requires a level of acknowledgement that I'm buying something for a particular reason, right? So I'm going to tell you, I started a business in 1991. My mentor, obviously he was advising me all the time, but he gave me the advice. He said, listen, Dwayne, never buy something. It's like, you go in the club and the club is looking a little leery. You need to know what the exit sign is, right? Never buy a stock that you don't know what you're looking for to get out of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I buy for clients, I already know what I'm looking for to achieve to get out of it. Now, whether that's for it to go 20% or 30%, or I mean, I'll use Apple as just an example. 5 years from now, iPhone 95 is coming out, right? And I'm preparing for, I'm buying it and, buying the stock and preparing for that moment when it comes in the announcement. They typically make the announcements in September, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And they make the announcement that iPhone 95 is coming out. Boom. I hit my target, stock responds accordingly, or whatever the case is. In that moment or leading up to that moment, I got to make a decision. What's the catalyst that's going to keep me owning this stock beyond this point, right? So now I have to establish another situation that basically makes me still bullish on the company, right? So whether that's a new CEO coming in, Tim Cook is retired, and they got a new person coming aboard. They got this electric vehicle they're talking about doing with Hyundai now. All those things you have to process. So when you talk about setting it and not doing anything with it and just kind of, yes, that's your foundation, right? So let's say you buy your Johnson and Johnsons and your and your Mercs and those kind of Walgreens and those companies that have stability and have been around for decades through whatever pandemic or crisis. Now you can start those other ones that you add on the first floor and second floor. Those maybe you pay a little bit more attention to because they're not as established as what we call blue chip stocks. right? So you should watch them. You shouldn't, it's like watching paint dry. You paint, if you watch it, it'll never dry, theoretically. You should watch your portfolio because it's the prudent thing to do, but you shouldn't overcook it, right? You shouldn't just make changes because it went down 5% today, right? To me, when things go down, to me, that's like, it's going on sale, right? If everything else
buy some more sometimes,
like buying tuna fish, 10 cans for $1 versus $1 can. So I would just say, listen, if you're a new investor or even an experienced investor, and an experienced investor would probably know this, is that things evolve, right? The economy from 15 years ago is not the economy now, right? Everything has an IT touch to it, right? You look at Tesla. Tesla has an $850 billion valuation. That's insane. And it just became profitable last year. Ford.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
They just became profitable last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Tesla is like an $850 a share stock right now.
Yeah, and that too. Yes,
exactly.
So
I remember when Tesla was $70 a stock.
Man,
listen, I had Tesla for client. Well, I have Tesla that I own for clients, but they really own it theoretically from 2014 because Elon Musk owned a company called Solar City. Solar City, and he had Solar City and Tesla at the same time. Solar City was acquired by Tesla. So if you had Solar City stock, you end up getting Tesla stock at like $30 a share.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, like 6 years ago.
Go ahead, Dwayne. No,
I was just saying
Dwayne, all right, go ahead, finish your statement.
No, I was going to say this last thing is that this is a new world economy, right? And it's evolving. And if you don't evolve your portfolio along with it, General Electric is on the precipice of going out of business, right? Companies like, you look at Polaroid and all these, Eastman Kodak and all these companies that, oh my God, they'll never go out of business. Ford and GM combined have about a $90 billion valuation versus Tesla, 9 times more of Ford and GM combined. Combined. It's remember, the market is a forward-thinking apparatus, right? So it's valuing Tesla at some level in the future. Now, next week it'll value at some other level, in the future. So, but yeah, Rodney, no, you manage your account accordingly, but don't overdo it just because you got spooked one day.
Yeah.
So listen, Dwayne, since I don't have no real money, I asked him to give me a stock tip. I asked for Tesla, he gave me testicles. And I was looking at
it only gave you one.
Come on, a fucking penny stock for real. This motherfucker Tesla. He said you can afford Tesla. I'm gonna give you a testicle. So, look at the motherfucker drinking Fiji water. I got Poland Spring. That's some bullshit right there. That's some bullshit.
I'm up here drinking toilet water.
This motherfucker heard the overcoming speech, and I must have fucking fell asleep during that part of it. This shit ain't working out. This shit is not working out for me right now. So, Dwayne, you mentioned like Robin and all these people now started investing themselves in people like, from the barbershop talks and everything. Can you explain to people what's the good things about Robinhood and how does Robinhood really work for people?
So as I was saying before with our platform, so Wells Trade is our platform. Kelvin, you mentioned E-Trade and, all these. There's so many different platforms. Conceptually, they're the same. Robinhood was catchy and flashy because it's Robinhood, right? It's for the average person and for the average Joe, and we're going to stick it to the man. And,
rob from the rich, give to the poor.
Right, exactly. And the bottom line is that Robinhood is the reason why Robinhood is grown exponentially is because that concept of taking $5 or $10 and buying one share of something fits well within their business model, right? That's what they sell on. Listen, you don't need to start an account with $50,000 or $10,000 or whatever the case is. Come in and buy this fractional share of Google for $300 or whatever the case is. So it gave power to the people in terms of making them feel like, we finally have a brokerage firm or platform that's for us, right? Meanwhile, Robinhood is financed by private equity and hedge funds, right? So
it's called Melvin Capital, right?
Well, Melvin Capital, which was never heard of prior to 3 weeks ago, got involved You want me to jump into this whole? I mean, I can jump into the whole GameStop and how
I think you should. I
Yeah,
think
you
you
should.
should.
And
Yeah,
any
if,
view,
if
and
you
anybody,
can, if you can,
yeah,
please.
and any
But
viewers
a
watch.
lot of people don't understand it. And the thing is, now I know people that now are terrified to be in the stock market just because of Robinhood. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just definitely explain it.
Yeah.
And
So
please, anybody got any questions in the chat, please give it to us now. This
yeah,
guy's very
definitely
knowledgeable.
throw them in. So in order to understand that, you have to understand the participants, right, of the whole pie, right? So
Mhm.
you got hedge funds, you got Robinhood or brokerage firms, you got the retail investor, right? And then you have what's called, let's call it, third parties that kind of get involved that we'll find out about later. So hedge funds are for the wealthy, for institutions. Hedge funds are typically massive in size, and the reason why hedge funds typically perform well is because of leverage, right? So hedge funds come to companies like mine, and they give us $1, and we give them $60 worth of purchasing power, right? So a hedge fund that's 10 billion in size, could be operating like it's $400 billion entity. So instead of them being able to afford 10 shares of Tesla, now they go out and buy 50 shares of Tesla, right? So when Tesla goes up 50%, well, you multiply that out on the additional shares that they were able to buy, right? So Robinhood and Wall Street and all these other areas, an individual doesn't get that multiplier. They get one, right? So if you give them $1,000, it's called margin, right? I'm sure you guys have heard of margin. But
Mhm.
it's almost so you can buy $2,000 worth of stock. So your multiplier is basically, you can double, right? But also, if you lose money, you got to pay back the margin money
Yeah.
that you borrowed. Plus, you're going to take a loss on whatever, that stock that was at 1,000 now it's 500. Well, you lost 500. Plus, you got to pay back the 1,000 to Robinhood. So the issue became where, and I'll talk specifically about GameStop. There's a thing called shorting stock, right? So
Right.
everybody knows when I don't know how it looks on your screen, but you want to go left to right on an incline.
Mm-hmm.
You want to buy low, sell high, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you short stock, you want to sell high and buy low. So it's almost like eating your dessert first and then having your entree and then your salad. You're going to do it in reverse, right? So if you feel something is losing value or is going to go out of business or just the business model is just terrible, you're going to sell stock short. And the way you sell stock short without, I'll try to simplify it as best as possible. You come to me, I have a client comes to me, Dwayne, I think GameStop is going to go down. Can I borrow 1,000 shares? I call up we have what's called the stock loan desk. I call up the stock loan desk. Hey, so-and-so wants to borrow 1,000 shares. Okay, they give me 1,000 shares. They charge them interest because it's a loan, even though it's stock. They take the market value of the loan and its interest. And the hotter the stock, and this is where kind of the stuff kind of came in, the hotter the stock, the more interest it is, right? Supply and demand. So you take the short, the client shorts the stock, they sell it, right? So now they have a negative 1,000 shares. Got it? They have a negative 1,000 shares. GameStop went down to whatever, $10 a share. Rodney, Melvin Capital was short GameStop, was making a killing in it. Then you have Reddit. Okay, so Reddit, this is kind of like, West Side Story, so you got this other side over here of the average Joes who are really smart. A lot of them are smart, but a lot of them are followers too, right? I mean, it was like 2.7 million people in this one chat room. I mean, it was just insane.
Yeah.
They're saying, listen, we're going to squeeze GameStop, right? If we pull all our money together, obviously we all have individual accounts, but at the count of three, I'm exaggerating. At the count of three, we're going to go in this market and we're going to buy up GameStop.
Yep.
GameStop started getting pushed up by these Wall Street bets and started ticking up. Now remember, Melvin is leverage, right? Remember that leverage I was telling you about?
Mm-hmm.
So where they could have afforded $1 billion, I'm exaggerating, $1 billion worth of GameStop, but they bought they shorted $10 billion worth of GameStop. So as the stock starts going back up, it reverses price on them, right? Remember, you want to sell it here and buy it back down here. The stock started going against them, right? when just like anything else, if you have a house and and your equity is too low, like you're underwater. Remember back in the days in the bubble,
Mhm.
people were underwater,
Yep.
and you can get underwater on a stock position.
Yeah.
Melvin got underwater because they pushed this stock from $10 up to 200 to 300 and topped out just about 500. So Melvin, when it was around 200, went to two firms and said, "Listen, we need a bailout, right? Because they had to buy back the GameStop stock that they were short, right? Plus, now they're down 50%. They lost 50% of their assets in that one stock.
Wow.
The power of leverage, right? It goes both ways, right? It's the gift and the curse. A company called Citadel and another company called Point 72, who's Steve Cohen, who's the new owner of the New York Mets.
Mhm.
That's his company. They pumped about $3 billion into Melvin Capital to keep him afloat, right?
Wow.
So in the meantime, people at Robinhood, when the stock started getting crazy, they're trading this stuff. This is all retail now, right? So this is all now it's like a pyramid scheme. I mean, you got to think of it like that, right? Because when you need this thing to keep getting pushed up higher and higher and higher with new money coming in to keep pushing it up, right? That's how buyers push the market up. But when the buyers started drying up, the stock started coming back down. There's no helium in the balloon anymore, right? So it started coming back down. It started coming back down. And what you found was Robinhood, every day brokerage firms have to settle up trades, right? And people were over trading their accounts with no equity. You can only really kind of turn, I'm simplifying this, but you can really only turn your account around one time per day. What I mean by, so let's say you have $10,000, you can buy something worth $10,000, sell it. Let's say you sold it for $12,000 that same day. Now you have $12,000, but you can only do that one time. You got to wait for overnight to do it again, right? But people were flipping this stuff back and forth they were recycling $1. Robinhood had to pay for every single trade they did, not just that one spin. They had to pay for all the spins. So they have to keep that capital available. So they would reach out to a company called Citadel to get a loan, and they did. And that's why they clamped down, to anybody that thinks Robinhood, oh man, they screwed us, it's for the little people. Robinhood did what they did to stay in business. But economics 101, right? There's no such thing as a free lunch, right? So if you're getting free commissions, you're giving up some optionality somewhere else, right? And that's them telling you, listen, you can only buy one share today. They're putting their thumb down on you, and to them, that was like, oh man, you guys are supposed to be for us, and you're screwing us. If you have a full service relationship like with me, there were no restrictions, right? And the only restrictions we had, so we would get emails during the day saying you can't solicit, right? So I can't call clients up and say, listen, let's get in this GameStop and do X, Y, and Z. At most, I can take their orders on an unsolicited basis, but I couldn't do it on a solicited basis. So I think the main thing with Robinhood is the concept that the investors, their account holders were disappointed that they ended up, kind of reverting back to the rich guy, helping out the rich guy. And to me, listen, this is all capitalism at the end, right? Because as much as people want to stick it to the man, the problem is that hedge funds manage union money, they manage pensions, they manage retirement accounts, 401ks. So it's not your rich neighbor that has money with a hedge fund. So in an effort to stick it to the man and crushing Melvin, well, some of these retirement accounts are down 40, 50%. Now, I don't think you can pull anybody on the side and say, listen, I'm prepared to lose $1 million just to stick it to the man. Listen, if you got a Robinhood account, you're a capitalist. I mean, I don't think you're throwing your money away just to say, listen, I'm gonna show the man, that I'm willing to lose all my money just to stick it to him. So
shit, I wish I had that kind of money to throw it out there and burn it. Right? The way I used to burn my money is to throw it up in the strip club. So that was and our trips to Vegas, but we ain't gonna talk about our trip to Vegas back in the we ain't talking about
a long time ago.
Long time ago.
I used to wash my money in the strip club. That's what I used to do. That's a good place to wash it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it smells a little funky to begin with. So yeah.
Yo, Dwayne, man, listen, man, we want to thank you, man, for coming on.
No, I'm not done. Let's keep going. No, I'm not finished, right?
Hey, listen, man, you can pay for our show. We'll do whatever you want to say,
I
boss.
just gave you money to come on the show, man. Pay these guys your share. Right,
Yo,
right.
D, what's up with that?
Nah, yo, Dwayne, seriously, man, I love
Listen,
you,
man,
brother,
I appreciate
man.
it.
I love when you educate. Dwayne also, the time before comes about my job, sometimes talk to the young people and whatnot like that. So it's not just like about money, it's just sometimes the brothers talk about life. So, like, you know, I truly appreciate you, brother, mentoring and doing what you do, man. And next time, give me a better stop take.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Listen, great way you're paying it forward, and I'm sure you guys are going to grow into something really impressive. And
Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad I got on board early, man. Hope to be back later.
All right,
Thanks a
brother.
lot, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Tell
Peace,
your
brother.
brother I said hi too, man.
His brother's about to
You know,
retire. Yeah.
I used to work with your brother.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Ask him. Yeah.
Oh my! So you retired now?
Yeah, I've been retired like going on 7 years.
Yeah, he's done in July, man. I'll definitely tell him that.
Yeah, just tell him Mitch said what's up. You know what it is.
Man, small world, man.
Yeah.
Glad you got
All right.
out, man. Stay safe out there.
All right,
Yeah,
you too, man.
All
Take
right,
care.
man. All right, man. Peace.
brother.
My man Dwayne Taylor with his own money.
Official.
Yeah.
Yo,
Official.
I heard Michael Jordan got hurt on that GameStop deal.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, he
Yeah.
lost like
Wow.
200 million, bro.
He got hurt two
bad.
ways. Melvin Capital was buying, I think, a percentage of the Charlotte Hornets, which Michael Jordan owns. And then because they got clipped with the money from GameStop, they don't have the money to freaking pay him now.
Wow.
That's what I was under the impression. So now Melvin Capital can't pay him like their piece for the team.
Oh,
Wow.
it's bad.
So this is like you sold something, you was relying on that bread, and then all of a sudden somebody pulled out. You know what I'm saying?
I have the feeling that Jordan is going to find the strength to go on, though.
I think
I think so. I think he'll be
Yeah,
fine. I think he'll be fine. Yeah.
The natives will sell release the Jordan 11s and the natives will buy them back.
Yeah,
That's it.
I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
In a former life, though, I would have been a stockbroker. I was studying for my Series 7 and my 63.
Yeah.
Point. I'd have been, listen, man, that would have been me on this call earlier.
Yeah.
See, I would have been the jankiest stockbroker ever.
The Wolf of Main Street.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I know I took a dab and what did I buy with my son? We bought Under Armour, man, because we like Steph Curry. I'd have been the jankiest.
Yo, well, do you know the guy that started that was it Quarter Water or whatever it was, the fake Gatorade, 50 Cent invested 150 million for
vitamin water.
water. Right? Yeah, I should have said it like that. That was foul. But the vitamin water, that guy's at St. John. He was at St. John's.
Oh, wow.
St. John's guy that started that. And then 50 invested it, and then I think Coke came and bought it for like 400 million.
Yeah. So listen, we got to go to a commercial, guys. We're going back. The juice, Jamie, bring us to commercial, please. Thank you.
right. Shout out to all our sponsors.
Yes.
Sir.
Yeah, people definitely. I also shout out to the next guest that we got coming in. This is my man. Shout out to New York Black and Latino meetup group as well. All right, this is my man. And he is very much into something that I'm into, which is martial arts and combat sports. And I love boxing. All my children have gone through martial arts training, and he's going to speak on that a little bit. Around that's my man Chris Fletcher. All right, let's see if we can bring him in, Jamie. What's going on with him? Let's see what's up.
How to tone long, format number 2.
Sir.
All right. Left leg forward. Punch, punch, punch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it again. Sure. Ready. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Full speed power. Ready. Full speed power once again. Ready. Ready. 1, 2, 3.
Courtesy, no doubt. Yeah.
Yo, I need that guy to collect some money for me.
hey, you gotta know how to fight like that living in the Bronx.
Yeah, absolutely. You know. Yeah, man. I mean, this is
Jamie, bring in Chris, brother. Bring in Chris. Where's Chris at, Jamie?
Chris, what's up, man?
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up, Chris?
All
How
right,
you doing?
Right.
What's up, Chris? Man, how you feeling, brother, man?
I'm well. It's good to be with you guys this evening.
Hey,
That's
Good,
good.
I love
Hey,
the
Chris.
show. I love the
Yeah,
energy.
That's what's up, man. I love your energy on that clip, brother. You know what I mean? And I can already see that, you know, that is definitely a love affair with you and the martial arts, man. And I'm definitely feeling that. Let me ask you a question though, but what made you get into the martial arts? Because I think you got into it a little bit later in life as well, right? Am I not mistaken?
Yeah, right. So I got into it officially at the age of 20. So that's really, really late for anybody to pick up the martial arts generally. You usually start when you're very, very young.
Right.
You usually are, if you follow it, you usually by your teens, you're like, you know, really, really serious. You're in the high, you know, red, browns, and black. But I didn't pick it up, martial arts until about the age of 20. My first martial arts school was a wushu school down in on 26th Street. And I was doing that on and off for a little while. And then I couldn't get down there like I wanted to, because at the time I just moved out on my own, so I didn't have any wheels. The only thing I had was a bicycle, so there was no way of getting down there and taking the subway. That didn't work either. So I eventually moved to Co-op City in the Bronx, and then I found a school where I started to thrive and really got to enhance my my love of martial arts.
That's what's up.
Let me ask you this question, Fletcher. Over the past few years, I noticed that self-defense it seems like it has taken on a new life of its own. When I was younger, we used to just watch the martial arts and we thought it was primarily an Asian discipline. But now it just seems like a lot more universal. And if I'm right with that, why do you think that is?
It's been glorified a lot on what you see on television. I mean, there isn't an action movie that doesn't have anybody that's doing some sort of martial arts in some way, shape, or form. I mean, Denzel was doing martial arts, and I'm drawing a blank on the two movies that he did. The Equalizer.
Equalizer
was a prime example. I mean, his training, and you can tell he really took it seriously when going through, because a lot of those scenes were, although choreographed, were spot on. So you see it every day. When I started martial arts, I started getting interested in martial arts very, very young. I used to watch Channel 5, those martial arts movies on like Saturday and Sunday, and that was it. And everybody was Bruce Leroy then. So all that noise and then the key-ups and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to do that. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn how to kick like that.
Right.
Unfortunately, my mother said no, and it was a firm no because of how we were raised. So that wasn't going to happen. It wasn't until I moved out on my own. Although, truth be told, I kind of started learning a little bit earlier because I had friends that were already proficient in the system. But when I got on my own, one of the first things I looked for was a martial arts school. And like I said, it is grown. Martial arts has grown into this thing. It has a life of its own. And then now you start saying, well, you hear, well, which one is better than the other, which has always been a conversation for years.
Right.
But because it's so glorified right now, they all kind of blend together in certain respects.
Right.
Yeah. Chris, what discipline do you practice?
So I study Shipagi, which is Korean Kung Fu. The school that I train at, which is martial wear, as you can see on the shirt here. They have been in the Bronx for 20 years. The school started even before that by Master Mountain Bear, who now passed it on to Sabanim Christopher Robinson. He is my master, and we're the only school on the East Coast. There's another Shipagi school on the West Coast, which we don't really affiliate too much with because they kind of have their own path. But we're the only school on the East Coast that teaches traditional Shipagi, which is Korean Kung Fu. So a close cousin, it would be praying mantis. Would be a close cousin.
Okay.
So I know that. Go ahead, Kelvin. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dave. I always want to ask. There's a particular school, and I won't mention their name. One of my friends that's into martial arts, she just says that some of these schools exploit people. And there's one that's kind of almost like, I would think like maybe the McDonald's of martial arts, and she's saying that they give out belts way too early. They just, all these different things like that. So I wouldn't ask you to expose the school. It may have come into your mind. She knows, but is that really a thing? I noticed that some people just take advantage. They may sell these parents a bill of goods and try to just let these kids pretend that they're more advanced than they are, and not really giving them the requisite training that they need. Yes. Is that accurate? You think?
That is a thing. Unfortunately, it kind of bothers me personally, because the whole point of a school is to enhance the student, get them to have the best version of themselves. And a lot of these schools, unfortunately, hype them up based on what a belt is. If you are a brown stash, you can immediately be someone that's green or red or white or whatever the case may be. No, that's not really what it is. The martial arts enhances your ability. It doesn't mean that you're the strongest person on the planet Earth, because we clearly know there's always going to be somebody better than you. However, the point of the school is to teach you. And if you embrace that knowledge, then you will flourish as an individual. That's what it's about, to be the best person you can be. So other schools, they have a system. If you take X amount of classes, you get this belt. If you pay, once you're taking these classes, you pay some dollars, you get that belt immediately, because in the mindset, that is what the parents are. They're like, I want to see my kid become a black belt. How many classes does he have to take to do that? Here is where it gets a little dicey. People have a short attention span. And not everybody, but there are people that have a short attention span like this. How many classes will I take to get to black? Okay, I gotta do that so I can get there. And they have this misconception, I have to do all of this stuff to get to that goal, and it gets lost.
Right.
So as I advise parents all the time, come in, watch the school, watch how the instructor interacts with your kid. Is your instructor nurturing and saying, look, yes, it's a great accomplishment that you've gotten this belt, and own it. Yes, you did it. You did the work to get there. But you would have, the only reason why you got that belt is not by the number of classes that you did or how much money you paid. You got this belt because you put in the work. And if that's not what you see, walk out the door.
Got you.
Okay. If the kids are like this, I'm just here because, and you can tell, because certain teachers can't control a class. If they can't control the class, walk out the door.
Wow. Got you. Good point. Thank you.
Hey, Chris, how much do you think tradition and culture factor in to what you're teaching? Because I've seen the same school that I think we all understand what we're talking about, the McDonald's. I don't see them teaching much culture. I don't see them teaching much tradition. You know what I mean? They just, as you said, they just kind of go in and they just do what their thing is. Unfortunately, I lost my trainer earlier this last year, and he had my whole family, and he taught my children, especially, a lot of lessons regarding how to hold yourself, how to carry yourself as a man, and such. You know what I mean? And just you know what I mean. A lot of discipline things, things that don't necessarily have to do with kicking and punching, or you know what I mean, or anything like that. How much do you think that factors in to what it is that you do, or what it is that's important to being a martial arts instructor?
Right. So I won't mention the other school and how, I don't know, because those cookie cutter kind of schools, they have a curriculum that you have to follow, but the schools themselves, or the cookie cutter ones, they still have some autonomy. So I don't know how the instructors always do. Are they doing what they're supposed to do? I'm assuming some do, based on proper teaching. If you're going to teach your students, that means your student is a reflection of you. So if your student is bad, you've got a bad student, and you've trained him everything in the curriculum, he's still bad. Maybe you're not doing it. You're not the right teacher for the student. So you have to understand exactly. You have to understand exactly what the personalities of the school, because every school has a unique personality. So once you understand that, then does that personality work with how you raise your child, or how you are as an adult? Because sometimes, like, hey, I don't necessarily feel comfortable, in this because of the environment. It may be a good school. It's just maybe that student just doesn't do well with this particular person. So like anything else, you have to make sure that it fits. For me, when I first started the martial arts 20 years ago, I didn't think I would have lasted this long, personally, because I at the time I was a wuss, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do push-ups. I didn't like doing push-ups on my hand, on my knuckles. There's certain things in the beginning that I could not do, and it would be very easy for me to just say, you know what, I'm done, I'm gonna walk away. But given the personality of my teacher, who was always encouraging me, he's like, okay, you can do this. Fine. Did you try it? Yes. Is the first time you did it, was it good? No. Was the second time? No. Or was it the second or third or 100th time better than the first? Well, technically, yes. Well, then keep going. Obviously, you have the ability to do it. It doesn't have to look like everybody else, as long as it's effective. As long as it comes out when you need it the most. So because of his energy, it trickled down to me. And now when I have to teach, I teach with that same vigor or drive, because I want those that are learning from me to grow and be better than anything I can possibly do. And that's how it's supposed to be.
Chris, let me ask you this question. I'm a 4th degree black belt in Kareza, right? It's a former street karate with a little bit of crazy in that, right?
I know gung fu. I know gung fu.
Gung fu, right?
So Chris, real quick, so what can people find your school at and all that stuff like that? How can we get in touch with you and stuff like that? And what degree belt are you, first of all, too? What degree are you?
Well, right now I just achieved the rank of 2nd degree black, so that's second dan. It took me literally 20 years to get that far. In our system, there are 10 degrees, 10th degree, which I know I won't go that far because I lived that long, but it is something definitely that it was a major accomplishment. It's something that I aspire to, and I'm blessed to have. Our school is located in Co-op City in the Bronx, 167 Dreiser Loop, actually on the inner courtyard of the shopping center, right behind H&R Block.
Wow. So you can pay your taxes and learn how to kick ass with your refund coming out this place. Chris, man, thank you for coming on, brother, man. We love you, man. Thank you for all the things that you're doing in the community. We need more brothers like you to teach self-defense to our young people, to discipline to our young people, and also teach our black women how to defend themselves so we don't have to have another situation like that in Harlem. So, we really appreciate you, brother, all that you do, brother. Truly love you, brother, man. All right, man. Keep doing what you do, brother.
All right,
man. Peace, brother. Peace.
Take care, Chris.
Peace,
yeah. That's our brother Chris right there.
Yeah, man. He's amazing, man. And let me tell you, I have such an affinity for martial arts and for the lessons that are taught outside, completely outside, like I said, the kicking and all of that, man. Just the discipline and the opportunity to just teach courtesy. You know what I mean? To people. You know what I mean? So my case concern, they grew up calling people sir, men, sir, understanding manhood and everything like that. I just have a great appreciation for that.
So we're gonna pivot a little bit since about to coming into fashion week and everything like that. So our next few guests will be all talking about, and they also entrepreneurs. That's one thing we always say we want to promote on the show is having entrepreneurs that look like us too. We're open to everyone having it, but right now is about focusing on us and the people that look like us, black and brown people. So with that said, we have our first guest coming on. Rodney, can you talk about our first guest?
We're gonna swing into our fashion marketer segment. So Jamie, could you play that little film for us? Hey.
Yeah.
Can we bring in our next guest, Jamie, Mr. Kevin Shields? He's a fashion marketer. Hey, Mr. Shields, how are you?
Beautiful.
Good. Yourselves?
On, brother.
Good. That's some impressive stuff that you do. That's some very impressive stuff that you do right there.
Amazing. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I think I remember hanging out. You were saying back in the day in the clubs, long time ago. I think we used to hang in the clubs back.
Long time ago.
So, Mr. Shields, how did you get into fashion marketing?
To be quite frank with you, my corporate days, I have to go back a little bit and bring it back around. When I first got involved in fashion, it was actually college, purely by accident. I don't know if you guys are from the New York area, New York Technical College on J Street, downtown.
Of course.
Right. So, I was going to school there and I was in the cafeteria, and I'm an ideas person, brains always pop in with ideas. So I actually overheard a little planning session at a table behind me and some friends. And it was some girls from the fashion club, and they were there planning, and then I had to chime in with my thoughts. And then lo and behold, they said, just out of the blue, after listening to my ideas, like, would you like to, why don't you head up the club? Why don't you? And then boom, bam, boom, it happened from there. I end up producing the show, being the head of the fashion club there. And then fast forward, my corporate days was in investments, TIA Cref in Manhattan. And then from there, I always wanted to do my own business, basically. I'm an entrepreneur now. It's my Jamaican background, I think. So
100 jobs, 100 jobs, 100 jobs.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So always wanted to do my own thing. And ironically, I said to myself, at 35, I said that like from a teenager. And it ironically happened that way. I resigned like my 35th year. 2 months before 9/11, I actually resigned and started pursuing my own business. And then Plitz Fashion Marketing, I launched that. I actually had brought in some people after I launched it. They're no longer with the company, but push it forward. And to answer your question directly now, it's really I created the company because I noticed there weren't any diversity in fashion, right? So I'm just of the mindset and of the upbringing that I ain't gonna beg you to be a part of your clique. And fashion is very racist. Listen, I just actually did an interview just a day or two ago talking about the same topic matter. I respect the craft. I love fashion, and I understand. As an industry, especially at the high levels, they want to protect their institution, right? But in doing so, it's just very racial, like a lot of institutions we have, Western Hemisphere, and it's just not inclusive. And instead of begging them to be a part of their clique or um, you know um, wanting somebody to do me a favor, I said, you know what, I'll create my own, right? I'll create my own and offer opportunities to people. So in doing so, the company mantra is about diversity, affordability, and creativity. So if you notice with fashion, it's very cyclical. Like, since Black Lives Matter, you have a lot of like, you see ads now, there's Black people, Asian, different ethnicities, different
Yeah,
races.
yeah.
So you have to say to yourself, did fashion just discover that there are different ethnicities and racial groups and,
No,
and different points of view when it comes to fashion all of a sudden? Where does this enlightenment come from, right?
they're adjusting with the climate.
At the end of the day, it's about dollars, right? So
Mhm.
they see where the trend is going and they go with that. Previous seasons in fashion, you would have like 1 minute you will have, they'll have a little more Black models, then they'll have a little more Asian models, a little more Hispanic, but it was just a trend, it would be trendy. It wasn't anything institutionalized, a part of the norm. And I said, with my company, I want that to be the norm. So if you go to our website, our social media, like what you just saw here, you notice you'll see the audience is mixed. Every nationality you could think of, a racial group. The models are, the designers are, um, the staff, right? So, we're proud to say that we've had designers from every continent. A few years back, we finally had some designers from Australia. It was the one continent we haven't had brands from. So we've had a few now from Australia. So really proud of the fact that, I'm able to provide this platform affordably, right? And allow creative outlets to be able to, showcase their creative thought process and vision. And, proud of that. So that, to answer your question directly, I know it was a little long-winded. Really, that's what it's all about. And what precipitated the whole thing was the fact that there was a need. And, First Fridays that I did in New York, it was the same situation. There weren't a lot of after work. Well, you guys are in my same demo.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
guys,
was
I
there.
was
I was
there.
there. I was there.
yeah,
I
there
was
weren't many.
there.
There weren't many like profession for young. At the time, we were young professionals back then.
Yeah, yeah, we
So there
were.
weren't any spots for like young professionals of
Yeah.
color, right? So I used to be at TIA Craft at my desk, and I'm like, and at that time, email wasn't even a big thing yet. It wasn't a big. It
Right.
was around, but it wasn't, like amongst the populace, right? But people in the professional realm had email.
Yeah.
So um, I remember no one was sending out email invites and emailing people to go to places. And then I started doing that. I developed this big database, and that's how we got our party to be as huge as it was.
That's
It
how I
was
found
it
out
was
about it.
an emailing medium, and it was the same situation where myself. and then a couple other partners of mine. I got them together, and we, decided to do First Fridays exclusive, the mixers at the private lofts and so on. And then we started having after work mixers. And then, you guys know the history, Night Owls, the Roxy.
Good times, good times. Hey,
And,
hey, 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 wait. You get a little too, tell some of your stuff now, Wayne. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the fashion, Wayne. So I got a question for you. With the trend, like you said, they go into looking for more women of color and stuff like that. Do you think they're gonna start like a lot of women of color have more curves than other people, or do you think they're gonna start really showing more women of color with curves in these in marketing? Because really, like, most women aren't all flat and stuff like that now, and a lot of women now have bought some curves, so that's another subject. But do you think they're gonna start featuring that more in marketing anymore?
Great question. Great question on your part. I'm actually going to give you a little insight that happened, and this must have been like 4 or 5 years ago. This actually happened where and I'm ashamed to say this actually, we used to keep our model category outside of plus curve. So, I fell into that whole pattern too of like, 0 to 6 dress sizes and so on. And then the 1 year that I decided that, I'm always having plus curve design brands apply with us. I'm going to approve some and have some on our platform. Ironically, IMG owns the Fashion Week brand, right? So ironically, IMG that year actually decided to have a plus curve designer. So it just happened simultaneously that same season that I decided to do it. The mainstream IMG, with Fashion Week decided to have it on their platform. So of course the news pick up on that, and CBS News actually did a profile about it on from our location. They used footage from our location and they came and filmed and so on.
Wow. Okay. So real quick, there's a question up in the chat, and it's about because you like you say you started your own business and young people. So this person I actually work with. How can you have a lot of young people that are interested in fashion? You see a lot of young people with their social media and stuff like that. How can they get in touch with you? How can they get into internships? What like how can they get more involved in like what's your website? Can they volunteer? What can they do?
Oh, I think we lost him.
Shoot, he froze?
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Oh shoot.
I think we lost him. I actually saw the trend. Let me tell you, because I used to do a lot of videography in the fashion in that level. You know what I mean? In New York City, a lot of plus size models, a lot of models of color. And I used to go out there and actually do a lot of videography on that. And I could see the trends. I really felt like I could see the trends. And I could see the trends moving more towards plus size models, more towards more curvy models, more towards more, women who look like women, and that we, and you could see it happening. And so I'm not surprised at all that eventually that took off. And I remember when that started to happen, when that turn started to happen,
Yeah.
And I can remember a lot of that stuff, man, that happened from those First Fridays, man, and also a few other things that I was into back then, a lot of taping. I wish I had that.
Yeah, so
I'm starting to notice too, like when you go into stores, you're starting to see more curvy mannequins too. The mannequins are starting to get curvy.
That was
yeah,
great. Yeah.
All right, we got Wayne right back. Wayne, real quick,
apologize. I'm not sure what happened.
No, brother, it's the world we're living in right now. Real quick, because we have to go to the next word. How can somebody like get young people involved? Because we have a lot of young people that want to learn how to get into fashion, internship, modeling. If you could be a mentor, volunteer, how can they get in touch with you? And what's your website?
Sure, they can go to plitz.com, which is spelled P like Paul. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. PLITZS.com. That's our corporate site. So they can just click on the on that website, and they can just go through and they can contact us via email. They can go to our social media, our Instagram page, our YouTube channel. Just type Plitz Fashion Marketing and Instagram as one word. It'll come up. And our YouTube channel, if you go to our websites, you can connect to any of our social media channels. So you can apply whether you're a designer, you want to intern, you're a model, you want to audition. We audition every weekend throughout the year. So, and we do it virtually too. So it's not an issue where you have to fly into New York like before.
All right. So Wayne, thank you again, man. Listen, anybody want to get in touch with us or Wayne, like you said, there goes his website. You get in touch with a management at blackandlatinomedia.com or any one of us four brothers here. Wayne, we appreciate that what you're doing, that you're putting some blackness on this fashion thing, man. And listen, brother, I need you to throw one of those parties back in the day. We had some good times back in the day.
Can you turn back the time? Can you turn back the clock, brother?
Man, I had 360 waves in those parties.
I actually did one over at the W in Midtown, and I'm actually I've thought about it, and keep an ear out, mixing the fashion with First Fridays. It's called Fashion Forward First Fridays. So
nice. Let's do it. Listen, brother, man, we love you, man. Keep what you're doing, man, and hope you have a good week on Fashion Week, man.
Thank you very much. Have a great show, and I appreciate being on.
Thanks, brother.
I appreciate you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That was Brother Wayne Shields. So, Kelvin, can you bring us our next guest?
Our next guest is a fashion designer coming to Let's Chop It Up. And I'm so proud to bring in, he's a fashion designer who focuses on leather. Everybody, welcome to the Let's Chop It Up family.
Show us the video.
Show us the video.
Oh, sorry, the video.
Let's do it.
With no further ado,
I'm feeling that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him to make me some leather pajamas.
With no further ado, Mr. Laddie Howard, fashion designer extraordinaire. Welcome.
What's up, Laddie?
Thank you, brothers. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Talk to you, man.
What up, Laddie?
What's going on with
Laddie?
you?
What's going on, brother?
Laddie, a South Carolina State guy, man.
That's right. Repping my HBCU today.
You know what I'm saying? I used to see Laddie. I had hair last time I saw you, bro. It's been a lot of years. Probably been close to 30 years last time I saw you, man.
Long time.
How you been, man?
I'm good, man. Just busy, just like everybody else, trying to make it through. My shoulder to the wheel,
First of all, welcome to the show tonight. Pleasure having you. I just looked at your samples and everything looks phenomenal. I want you to shed a little light. My nieces and I always have this discussion, and I don't know how appropriate this is, but some of the really, really popular models that companies out there that boast of having the great leather and things like that, I'm under the impression that sometimes their popularity outweighs their quality. And I won't mention these brands. A lot of rappers have made them famous. They've been in pop culture. But my understanding is some of them have a great name, but don't necessarily have the great quality. Is that accurate? And can you find better leather in certain places other than those names that some people may not know about?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll have to talk about it and use some names myself, I guess. But first of all, those companies have been really successful with their branding, and we all want that, right? So that's a great thing. But those brands are historically associated with leather and with good bags. But if you look at any bag that is printed with logos and labels, LVs or MCMs or Gucci's, any of that printed stuff, that's not leather. It's not leather at all. It's usually wax canvas.
Yep.
Right. I knew I was right.
Right. So
I think they choose trim it. They trim it in leather.
They'll trim it. Yeah. A lot of times they trim the handles and the pieces that are holding the handles and the metal. A lot of times those will be leather. But the bulk of the bag, the body of the bag, And a lot of those brands, now there's a lot of real leather out there. There's things like Coach and other companies, they're, solid leather brands. But those ones that I know that you're referring to, no, those bags are generally wax canvas, the ones that you see everyone with.
Right. Great to know. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
So Laddie, let me go like, so how did, like, I know you from the party days and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? We're getting drunk down the bottom, you know what I'm saying? But how did you get into this, brother? What led you to this career? You had a different career before this, right?
Yeah, I'm an attorney. Left SC State, went to law school. I'm still an attorney. I don't practice now, but I was a lobbyist for 20 years. And I've been an entrepreneur for a while. How I got into leather it's a real simple story, really. As an entrepreneur, I go back to the party days, right? Some of the things we did when we party, you don't necessarily want to do when you get stressed out. So when as an entrepreneur, dealing with the stresses of the economy hitting back in 2008 and all those things and trying to run a business, I started doodling. So I would just sit in the State House or go to weddings or go wherever, and I would doodle. And if you go to my Facebook page or the earlier days of my Instagram page, you'll see some of my doodles, and they're going to show up in my bags. But I was doing that, just doodling. And then one day our son got to the age where he needed a bag because he would always put his stuff in my bag or Stacy, my wife's bag. And one day he got old enough where he needed to have his own bag. I didn't have one that was masculine enough, and all of the bags my wife had were feminine. And he was a kid, so I was like, he doesn't necessarily need to go out and buy him luggage. So I just decided to make him a bag. Never made a bag before. Went out and bought leather on a whim because I've been doodling. Decided I'd try the leather thing. The rest of the story is I started doing that, started posting on Facebook. People started seeing it. And at some point, they started asking for it. This is all I do now. I'm not saying that's the smartest decision that I've made in my life, but it's probably
but you're happy though. That's the thing. Yeah. You're happy, and so. Laddie, let me ask you another question, man.
Sure.
Can you some of the products that you have? Can you talk about some of the products? And can you make me some Eddie Murphy leather pants? I am bringing back leather pants, brother. I am bringing back leather pants, brother.
I can collaborate with a seamstress on what type of leather they might want to use to make your pants. So pieces of my collection. I've done a lot of work to develop a full collection from, say, the small pieces, like I do accessory items, the jewelry, leather cuffs and bracelet. If you see some of my recent postings for Valentine's Day, you'll see that those cuff and collar sets go all the way. So I have those as accessories along with wallets and portfolios and things like that. Of course, my brand is built around travel bags and daily bags. And when I started this, I really noticed that there was, in the market, two things are happening. One, there are not many brands that are focused on men. And two, given our society now and everything that we're carrying with our cell phones and chargers and all that stuff, men have to carry bags too. And we're very reluctant. But if you travel outside of the US, you find that especially in Europe and even a lot of Asian and African countries, men leave with their bags just like women leave with their bags in the morning because it's the only way you can carry everything. And I just felt like the brands that we have were not really male focused. And as I've developed my collection and my brand, I'm certainly not only focused on men because women, fact of the matter is women do a whole lot more shopping than men. So you have to focus on them. But I started filling in pieces in the collection based on what people would ask for. A lot of the individual pieces, like say the saddle bag, came about because I got requests. Hey man, I saw this bag that Dwayne Wayne was carrying on a different world, and I've always wanted a bag like that.
That was a classic bag, man.
Yeah. So can you make me one like that? And I guess if you've seen my sites, you see I've had about 3 iterations of that to where I have the L. Howard design that is unlike any saddle bag that you've seen, and it's much more suitable for carry now. So we have something that's pretty special in that. I think I'm really happy with the way the collection has developed over time because I've gone from the small, like I said, cuffs up to the $1,200, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 bags. I don't have any $10,000 bags now, but I do ostrich and the alligator, the exotic skins, and those bags tend to get more. So, but we have something from, I would say, from $50 to $60 on up to thousands of dollars, and that's really important.
Hey, Laddie, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
So imagine this: COVID is done, all right, and I got a family reunion or something that's happening. You know, I don't know what it is, right? But some event. What am I stepping off into? Like, you know what I mean? What do I need from? What do I need to leave with? You know what I mean? I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to be interesting. I'm trying to be. Because you haven't seen me for forever. You know what I mean? This COVID whole situation. I'm trying to shine. What am I stepping off with? You know what I mean? What's the conversation piece that I'm walking into my situation with?
I'm gonna tell you, man. This the bottom line is you got to step off with L. Howard if you want to make that impression. You gonna step off. I would say this: the backpack is a real easy bag.
All right.
But what you're gonna step off with me at the family reunion, if you so choose, is you're gonna choose. Have you seen my backpack, the Rosella backpack?
Let me know.
Italian leather.
Okay.
I just followed you on Instagram, so I'm just
okay.
Wait a minute. Let me get it.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you that backpack and give you sandals that match it out of Italian leather exactly. So so whether that's yellow, red, honey or orange, whatever, if you're wearing that linen, and that's the great thing about small independent brands, which is where I guess we're going with this too, is that we're able to do things that the larger brands won't do because, as the previous guest told you about, they're following the Pantone colors and they're trying to figure out what they're going to sell the most of and which colors they're going to sell the most of. So when you go in the stores, yeah, the wrappers have made certain brands popular, but you're getting the exact same piece as 33.3 million other people are getting, And so what I can do is I can give you something, no matter what your color is. I take the finest Italian leather, I hand dye it and design it, and can give you something that when you step out on the street or you step in the airport, it's going to be your runway, guaranteed. I guarantee you, it's going to be your runway.
Wow.
That's what I need to hear.
Yeah, my leather pants, babe. My leather pants.
Okay, two things. Let me say this. First of all, I had a fire in July, so when my house is complete, I'm gonna have to buy everything over again. Mm-hmm. And so my briefcase was the first thing to go. And problem was the latch was always coming apart and everything. So I said I wanted to get a new leather briefcase. So I was looking, my niece is like, oh, check Louis Vuitton, this, that, and the third. I'm going to get a L. Howard briefcase. I'm going to do that. But there's only one condition, that you do not sell decent leather pants. That's the only condition.
Luckily, man, I don't do clothes. So.
Don't do that stuff. I tell you, my brother, I'm glad that I found you to support, and I'm honored. So we'll definitely do business. I assure you that.
Hey, we need you all. We need you, me, and not just me, but a lot of other small businesses and brands. Man, we need our folk to shop with us.
Well, now I got a place. Now I have a place.
Yeah, instead of
Laddie.
Go ahead, Rod.
Yeah, Laddie, I want to ask you a question. Well, first of all, I know D wants leather pants, but I want leather pajamas. So you can't help me with that, right?
So,
wait, hold on.
I'm gonna get you and D together, and I'm gonna get you with my same consultant on your outerwear. We'll work it out for you, brother.
I want pink piping around that collar. Can you do that?
I can do that.
All right.
I can do that.
But Laddie, on a serious note, I want to ask you a question. In which, with your bags and stuff, what makes your bags distinctive and unique? What makes your bag stand out from everybody else? Okay,
that's a very good question. I think the first thing, basic thing, is that when you look at it starts with the design, right?
Okay.
So you have your own designs, and the difference between what I do and what a lot of people do, not to disparage anyone, but I actually design and make every single piece. So, and it's a huge standard. I mean, I'm surprised at the number of pieces that I'm able to produce, that I'm able to make, but I actually design and make them. So I'm not drawing stuff and sending it to somewhere and getting it back and putting my name on it. Mm-hmm. I make them right here in my studio. So that's the first thing. It is the actual custom piece. It's kind of like the Hermes of
So it's
whatever.
unique. It's unique.
It's very unique.
Okay, I got you.
The other thing is the choice of leather, and I guess one of the primary things that distinguishes me when it comes to veg tan and making these pieces is I actually hand dye. I do a lot of my hand dyeing, and these patinas are ombre finishes that are unlike other bags that you see. So I take a unique design and then mix it with Italian leather, the top quality Italian leathers, and give you a piece. And you have to look at my site to kind of see. But if you just look at my Rosella backpacks or look at some of my saddle bags, even if you look at my cuffs and collars, look at just the leather where you see all of those vibrant colors. Purple, for instance. When have you ever seen a purple bag that didn't look cheap?
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
get into certain colors, reds, purples, colors, green. You've never really gone into a store and seen any bag in those colors that you go, oh, wow, that's a quality leather bag. It might be a color and you like the color. But what I give you is I'll give you jade green in a leather bag, and you'll go anywhere and they'll go, wow, that's a beautiful, high quality leather bag, because you will think it came from a green cow. Yeah, I'll give you a bag. And when you walk in, people will go, wow, there are red cows out there.
So Laddie, one last question. One thing I need you to do, man. You know, I say you make things for Valentine's Day, but can you make something for February 15th, which is Side Chick Day? You gotta make certain Side Chick bags, man. February 15th, Side Chick Day. You gotta have Side Chick Day bags, man. And you'll sell out. Make them a little bit more affordable. You know what I'm saying? So for because they Side Chick.
Yeah.
Side Chick Day. You know what I'm saying? So
listen,
Laddie, how can people? Go ahead. What you about to say, Laddie?
I was just gonna say I think we have a full range of things, man, that everybody would be very, very satisfied with. So whoever you are buying for, I'm certain that we can fill the bill. Okay?
Give them what they want. Give them what they want.
Give them what they need.
But Laddie, listen, I appreciate you as an entrepreneur. I appreciate you as a designer. And I tell people, please don't try to shortchange them, right? So don't change my boy Laddie. And people, Laddie, tell people where they can find you at, man.
So if you're on IG, you can find me at l.howardleather. It's under my name there. Our website, I think, is also listed. It's www.lhowardleather.com. And on Facebook, you can go to L. Howard Artistry and Leather.
So, Laddie, thank you, man, so
much for coming on, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, brother. What you going to do? I think we probably got customers and all of us right here, man. Really appreciate you, brother.
No question. 100%.
Thank you, sir.
Got it.
Can't wait for my leather pants, baby. Leather pants, baby. And some socks, leather socks.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Take care, Laddie.
All right, Laddie.
All right, brother.
Hey,
All right,
brother.
peace, man. Peace.
I'm getting them.
Don't
leather
get Rod goes in the
pajamas.
middle.
Let me tell you something. We're gonna have a strike on this show. If either one of y'all get that. I ain't gotta worry about it because both y'all wives ain't gonna hear that.
Nah, my wife is gonna like that. I'm gonna come in there. We gonna role play. I'm gonna be like like a pimped out dude in the pajamas.
My name is Linda.
Don't sleep on my wife.
Now I'm gonna come in there. My name is gonna be Voila.
There you go. There you go.
Yo, that was just in time, man. Because go ahead, D.
Yeah, it's good for you. Yeah. So we got one more guest coming on, another entrepreneur. We go back a long time, man. I mean, I think I was probably maybe in high school when I first met this brother before I even got to school. This is my man. He designs shoes and stuff like that. And a lot of women, you know, he got shoes that won't give you those big bunions and corns. But anyway, this is my man. Sammy Jammy, can we bring in E2 Evans? Do we have a video for E2?
The breakthrough moment comes when celebrities start calling for samples and your shoes are finally being carried by big stores. Well, that's the way that E2 Evans is writing right now.
Shoes that are conversation pieces, things that you can't find, so I use a lot of novelty fabrics.
They're coated camouflage with coconut rind and a cola nut. E2's already designed boots for Lil' Kim. Now other stars are lining up. He's got custom orders from Sharon Stone, Tyra Banks, and Madonna. E2 Evans shoes are going to be available at Bergdorf, Saks Fifth Avenue, and Neiman Marcus this fall. He also does music stars, and I tried on a pair of shoes that he did for Erykah Badu. They fit me perfectly, by the way. I think someone wants the shoes.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jamie, can we bring in our brother E2 Evans?
What's going on, brother?
E2, that's
Lord.
an impressive client resume you have there. Very
Yeah,
impressive.
man.
Yeah, man.
With the cola nut on the shoe. That's
Wow.
Coconut. I can't afford the coconut water myself, but
Flavor. Yeah.
E2, what's going on, man? So,
How you
like,
doing, Dave?
tell the viewers, man, more good, brother, man. Tell me, viewers, more about your plan. Like, how did you get into the shoes and stuff like that? And just give us a little background about yourself, real quick.
Sure. My grandmother used to sit me on a canopy bed, and she would always ask me what pair of shoes should she put on. So that really piqued my interest in footwear. And then I noticed that her body would change, and I realized that was the magic of shoes. So from then on, not only was I interested in the construction of shoes, because I started deconstructing my grandfather's shoes, and in my mind, I was making my first driving shoe. So on one hand, I had my grandmother who loved stilettos, and my mother is an educator, and she loved flats. So I had the best education in training my eye from high to low.
Wow. Let me ask you this question.
Really to be a trailblazer in the footwear industry, particularly in the luxury market. I was tired of hearing everybody making, all of these designers, these rappers who look like me and you rich, but they didn't see the value in people who look like me and you. Right. So I remember when I first started in Harlem, people were like, nobody's going to pay $2,000, $3,000 for a boot from you. And you in Harlem, and it's the middle of the crack, and then they started to see all these girls coming from London. And when they started purchasing, then everybody started getting on board. So that's how I actually got into shoes.
Some people think you have to sacrifice comfort for style. Could you speak to that a little bit? Some people say the shoes look great in some cases, and I'm not talking about your shoes, I'm talking about in general when they get the stylish shoes. But some women have complained that after they take them off that night, it's just been, they look great, but they feel horrible. I'm sure that's something that you've had to deal with and compensate for.
Well, I made everything by hand for the longest. So you wouldn't have that problem with me. But for those people who aren't really familiar with the shoe industry or the construction of shoes, this is, if you can see it, it's called a last, which is a shoe mold.
Yeah.
A lot of the comfort has to do with the construction of that last. And for someone like me, this was gifted to me by my mentor in the shoe game. So basically, if you have what I call the E2 vegetable melody, corns, onions, and bunions, you just and you can put the leather in, and then what it does is, hold on a second here, it creates a pocket so that corn can pop into that area. Wow. And it weakens the leather to make that particular area of focus a little more relaxed and comfortable for the wearer.
There's a real custom element to that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm really feeling. It's a
so I had the opportunity to be in a lot of factories in Italy, in particular, all over Europe, but really Italy is where my focus is. But for the longest time, everybody knows me from 135th Street. That's where it all started for me. Yeah. But even before 135th Street, I would have these elaborate garden parties, and I would sell jewelry and hats. And that's how I saved up the money for my main focus, which was shoes.
Wow. E2, I noticed the luxury sneaker game is getting big. You plan on launching anything with sneakers?
Well, that's what my focus is since this whole COVID phenomenon. I'm a suit and tie guy, but I'm like, I have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So, and when I do go outside, I'm a behavioral therapist by trade. So one of the first things you do as a therapist is you look around, you have to observe. And I noticed that everybody was wearing sneakers. Now, I made my first sneaker in 2000.
Okay.
I didn't see sneakers that I could wear with my suits or the way I like to promote my sensibility and style. So I've taken that sneaker and I'm currently just took the soles off of them like last week. And we're thinking about maybe in the next 3 to 4 months, getting ready to kick off the new sneaker game. So I made what I call athleisure for me. And I was walking around, I had to speak at Howard.
Okay.
And then somebody said, "Hey, Michelle Obama would like those."
Oh,
So I was like, "Well, maybe I need to get back into the sneaker game."
yeah.
So now it's on. Not only am I working on a new line of sneakers, but I'm also getting ready to start pitching to open up a sneaker factory in Ghana.
Wow.
Yo, Laddie, let me ask you a question. I mean, Laddie.
He's a bulldog with a different
Me too.
bulldog.
What's the concept like? Like when you start like when you're thinking of a concept on what to create, you know what I mean? Do you like just kind of just go to, I don't know, you just zone out or whatever, or do you just see what's happening in terms of like, you know, trends or anything like that? What's that like for you? You know what I mean? Like when you're thinking of a new design or something that you want to do.
What inspires you? What inspires
you? Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you very much.
I got your back, Derek. I got your back.
Thank you. I know you, brother.
Nice connection.
Yeah. Let's go.
I would say what inspires me, you know, I lecture a lot on fashion as a consultant and speak on fashion. So one of the things you have to do is you have to understand global trends, not just what's happening in your neighborhood, but what's happening in the world. Yeah. So that's first and foremost. And they are Pantone colors. I mean, you will see how fashion actually blends or intersects into home and interiors because there are certain color trends. So that's one. I try to find out what the color is. And then I look at, you know, the silhouettes. What's popular this particular season? Is it a fall on the leather? So to Laddie's point, what I did was I reached for one of these. This is lambskin, but you can see my monogram on the lambskin. I'm always experimenting, seeing how I can customize and create something exclusive for my customers. And that's why they come from around the world to try to get something signature for me. So, and the other half of it is everything for me has to be etunized because I think what makes a strong designer is a point of view. And those designers who are most successful have a strong point of view. People should be able to understand who you are through your sensibility of what you're presenting. So my shoes, what makes them unique and accessories are the shoes have purple bottoms. I have signature hardware. You can see customizations that I actually put into leather and on leather. I play around with different stitching. So those are some of the components that would separate E2 Evans from other designers.
Beautiful. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see. I want to look. Yeah.
So E2. I'm trying to go back to something you said.
Here's the purple bottom.
There you go.
There you go.
Greyhound on it.
I can look at that and say that's E2 Evans right there. I want to see that. That's what I'm looking for.
And it has the Greyhound on it. So
yeah.
So, real quick, E2. Like I know, like you know, you said like basically you global and stuff like that. And I know that you said you're gonna do a lot of work and started out of Ghana. Why did you pick going back to the motherland to start your sneaker your company? I mean, not start, but like to get more into building it.
Well, first and foremost, I'm sure you've heard of the year of return, where everybody went back to Ghana. So there are a lot of Americans there, and they're thriving financially. Lots of opportunities are opening up in Ghana. But in October, I was recently approached to represent the U.S. for Beyond the Return. And Beyond the Return is a cross-cultural program, and I'm the lead for fashion. So there you'll see soon my praying that this COVID gets out of the way, but you'll see my footwear, belts, bags, and you'll see some customized pieces of furniture and jewelry. Here's an example. This is a coral necklace that I plan to show during Fashion Week.
Okay.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, like, why did you pick the color purple, E2?
Well, you know, I am an Omega, so we can start there. So, Group of the Brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So that's first and foremost. Mom is like she's calling me.
Listen, y'all see my wife down there, right? You already got a sale, E2. My wife just plugged in. She said she's gonna get me to buy something. You saw that? Yeah, that was my wife. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Your wife has good taste.
Yeah, I'm going to tell my husband. That's my lady right there. Yeah. So you already got one off top.
That's what's up.
Beautiful,
So,
Derek. Get that $2,000 pair, brother.
Hey, man, come home and
I heard you ask a question earlier. I've been to a lot of the factories. I got invited to the Gucci factory. I've been to a lot of them, and I'm not going to say which factory, not trying to get sued. But just because it has a name on it does not mean that it's synonymous with quality.
And I think that's the thing we have to be educated on, because I think the popularity, people have really, really, fallen in love with that. And there is not much individuality. I love the fact that you make things by hand, that you stand behind them, and Laddie as well. So I'll tell you, I didn't know much about it, but I did have an idea that those other brands, in some cases, whoever they may be, definitely because are more trendy than quality in a lot of cases.
Yeah, well, I was told initially that in fashion, it doesn't matter as long as the shoe looks good. It doesn't matter how it feels.
Right.
But I would go to events, and then, she's there for 10 minutes, and I look across the room, and everybody's holding their shoes in their handbag.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because their feet are bleeding. Their feet are bleeding in the shoe. That's why.
Yeah, now your foot is rebelling.
Yeah.
And it's not a good thing. So I have a classmate that graduated with me from Columbia University, and she always would trip up in heels, but she could teach a whole class, a whole course wearing my shoes. Wow. So construction is key.
Absolutely.
So I try to intersect comfort with a fashion forward sensibility. Now these sneakers are fire, I'm telling you. So I'm really excited.
You better make them a size 14, because I tell you, us big feet people always get jerked on the fashion.
A size 22 is the largest shoe I've made.
Wow.
Well, make them 14 wide, brother. Make some 14. Real quick, before you go, I want you to tell us a little bit more about your foundation before you go.
Sure. I created Soulsville, the Soulsville Foundation in Harlem, when I was a student in grad school. And Soulsville primarily specializes in shoe drives, art exhibitions, and we provide advocacy and awareness for those victims who've been abused sexually.
Wow, that's great.
So we distribute shoes throughout Africa, the Caribbean, South America, Atlanta, the Carolinas, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And we're getting ready to do what I developed called Sneak Peek. And that is where we teach young people how to create sneakers. And then those sneakers, we give you a sneak peek into their creativity. So that's on the horizon. We do it every year. And lastly, I'm working on something called Crown Divine. And it is intimate apparel for the Divine Nine.
Beautiful.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. What's up? I better get something in blue, man. So E2, man, how can the people find you, brother?
You can find me on Instagram at E2 Evans, Facebook at E2 Evans, and if you want to send me an email, you can hit me up at e2evans@gmail.com.
That's E2, man. Listen, we appreciate you, man. I appreciate your family, because they showed a lot of love. They support the show. Your cousin Steve he just shouted you out and whatnot.
Shout out Steve.
Shout
out Steve.
And the brother that running the game, man. We need some.
To my cousin Sam, dope show, dope host, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
And shout out Miss Bazemore. Look at this, man. 10 to 14.
Shout out Miss Bazemore.
That's not a joke.
I see her right there.
That's not a joke. Right there.
Yo, E2, you about to have all Derek's money that we owe him for this show.
Solid money, no coin.
All right, yo, E2, man. Listen, brother, we appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you do, man, and keep showing off black excellence, brother. We appreciate you for black excellence, brother.
Beautiful. See, brother.
Love you, brother, man. Peace, man. All right.
Be safe in this smoke. We're about to get hit again. Take care.
Take care.
Peace.
Man, that's beautiful. Man,
we got a lot of great entrepreneurs on here today, man. That's bringing it like the fashion forward type of things and all that stuff. Like, we're beautiful as black people, man. It's like God.
We can do anything. We can do anything. We do anything and everything. Yeah.
That's good that we seeing brothers that's into fashion. So it's like it's different. Like, that's the main thing. Like, we see a lot of our sisters doing a lot of things, but I'm happy that and people that look like us. And I'm thinking like the comfortability of those shoes is very key for us. My sister, I ain't gonna tell you about my sister feet. My sister leave my sister feet because she'll beat me up and she won't cook nothing for me for Thanksgiving next year. So I'm gonna leave that alone.
Don't mess up Thanksgiving, bro. Don't mess up.
I know. So listen, we got listen before we got watching the chop it, y'all. Real quick, I know we almost be over time, but watching the chop it. Let's start off with Night Stalker. I'm gonna start a little different from the way you got written down there. I'm gonna go Night Stalker. I didn't see it, Rod. You saw it.
I saw it. I think it's a watch it. It's about like I said, I don't want to get too deep into it, but for people that didn't see it, it's about a serial killer back in LA back in the day. And basically it breaks down how he was terrorizing pretty much numerous sections of LA until he got caught and how he got caught. But definitely, I mean, if it's a little bit of kind of gruesome for people that don't like stuff like that, but I say watch it. It's definitely something you should watch.
Okay, how about the Wendy Williams thing? I didn't watch it. Did anybody watch it? I watched a little bit.
I didn't watch that.
Yeah,
I watched a little bit of it with my wife, man. It was you know what I'm saying? I'm not a big Wendy Williams fan, to be honest with you. I think
same thing here. I'm not a Wendy Williams fan.
She did a lot to damage herself, in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of like, you asked for it, man. You know what I mean? Like you go out there and you do certain things, you treat people a certain way.
It's called karma.
It's called karma, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I do respect her just as a sister trying to, coming up in the game. You know what I'm saying? I kind of, just the broadcaster in me appreciates what she brings to the table, but just as a human being, brother, you know what I mean? I'm kind of like, you kind of asked for it.
From her fans, I heard it was accurate. I heard it was good, but I heard it was too short as far as the movie's concerned. And I watched the interview afterwards. And when it comes to just being a wag, not really my thing, but her fans seem to have appreciated it. Now she's gonna go with the overcoming story where she'll try to bounce back from her adversity.
No, she's gonna do it, bro. She's gonna do it. She knows how to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she'll be fine. She'll be all right.
She'll find the strength to go on, brother.
Yeah.
How about the Denzel Washington son movie Tenet? Anybody see that one?
Straight trash show. That's Spanish for garbage.
Stop it.
Everybody,
I want to like it. I want to get into it. I haven't watched it yet, but
everyone said it was trash. I didn't even bother. I'm sorry.
It's the thing is this, right? I didn't know if I was watching The Matrix, if I was watching Fast and the Furious, or if I was watching Back to the Future. You sitting there, it actually insults your intelligence. You don't know what's going on. Everything's going backwards. Even bullets are going backwards.
Wow.
It's just crazy. I don't understand it. And the thing is, I like Denzel Washington's son, right? He doesn't seem like an action type of actor to me. You know what I'm saying? I think he's more like, I like him in the series Baller. And he's got a new show on Netflix. I think it's called Malcolm and Mary.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it, but
I watched a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think he's better acting in as like regular stories instead of like action stuff.
And he looks like his mom.
Okay.
All right. Anybody saw Denzel's latest movie, The Little Things, on I think it's on HBO Max?
I saw that. I would say watch it. I just didn't like the way it ended, but I would say watch it.
Okay. And the last one I did see is it's on HBO Max, I believe. It's called Fake Famous. It's a movie about social media and how fake a lot of things, people that we follow on social media, and how they buy likes, they buy comments, and all kind of stuff like that, and even the pictures are all fake. I strongly suggest people to watch this movie, especially if you have young people, teenagers that's going through some kind of issues about identifying who they are, and they get all this pressure from social media. It's a must watch. It's called Fake Famous.
That's what's up.
Okay.
I'm on it.
Watch it.
So, brothers, this was another good show, man. A lot of insight on a lot of things from fashion. A lot of insight from my brothers, Dwayne Taylor, with the stock market. And we could probably go on for another segment of all these topics, especially the stock market thing is not a thing.
Yeah, man.
So, I appreciate you brothers joining us again. Being with me again, and I'll be with you guys. Go ahead, Rob.
And before we end it, one round robin. Who does everybody like for the Super Bowl tomorrow?
Oh,
KC.
Well, that's a good question. Listen,
I put money on KC.
I say I'm going for KC too.
I'm gonna take KC too, but I do think Tom Brady made a deal with the devil, but I don't trust. Listen,
And he made it against the Jets all these years.
2021 is KC, brother. It's KC.
I know one thing. He didn't make the deal with the devil against the Giants because the Giants had his number.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you know why?
We went in prayer on that one, brother.
The Giants are covered in the blood. So that's why.
And we ain't covered on that one. You know, we ain't covered.
And Tom Brady is the devil. He is the devil.
Yes. But listen, I always bet on black, so I'm going for my man. So this is good, brothers. Like, listen, and also, got Leon Spinks passed away. Anybody know Leon Spinks in the boxing passed away at 67 years old. So I just want to make sure. Shout out to the brother Leon Spinks. Now he goes with our ancestors. He's with our ancestors. Brothers, I love you guys, man. I see you next week,
bro.
You back, brother.
Remember, people, like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Love you all. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.